Barbara.
I'm Cheryl.
And I'm Naima. We're three Black moms.
What are we going to do? We are in the midst of what looks like the most discouraging part of the world right now. We have an unelected billionaire who is laying waste to government programs with the idea that he can do whatever he wants, and people are afraid to say anything because those our elected officials are more afraid and more concerned with keeping their jobs than doing their jobs, which is representing us. So, what are we as a people going to do? Well, we can sit back, we can throw up our hands, we can call on the Democrats to do something. We can try to rouse our former leaders like Vice President Harris or Secretary Hillary Clinton or other of our past leaders to please do something, or we can do something. We can be the people and the leaders that we're waiting for. And one of the first things we can do is vote with our dollars. That is, let's withhold our dollars. This Friday, February 28th, the last day of this year's Black History Month, we are going to sit our behinds at home and not go out to a store because we can. We have been calling, and it's not just us, y'all. It's all of those disaffected Americans who care about what's going on in our country and who are dissatisfied and discouraged and angry about watching someone who we didn't even elect. Not whether you voted for Trump or not, you didn't vote for Elon Musk. So what we can do is hit them in the pocketbook, and that is all of those feckless companies who decided to roll back their diversity, equity, and inclusion programs as part of bending the knee to this administration. We are going to have an economic boycott. We're not buying anything on February 28th. That's just the first day. The first day, February 28th, and we do have a plan, is the economic boycott. Don't buy. Get your grocery shopping done earlier this week. Get the gas for your car. Get all your lunch items purchased, and then don't buy, because that one day can start the revolution that we need. So, sisters, I'm going to talk about some of the other ones, and then we can talk about what we can achieve. The next dates are March 7th through the 14th. That's 1 week. Stay off of Amazon. And for some of us, that's going to be tough because when we don't shop at Amazon, they start knocking on our door asking if we're all right because we got packages coming all the time. I can say, even though I'm not the only one who gets packages, I have not bought from Amazon. From March 7th through the 14th, go and buy at your brick and mortar store if you can. Amazon, Jeff Bezos is a big Trump supporter. Don't give him any money. March 21st through the 28th, Nestle. We're going to boycott Nestle. And I want you all to share these dates because if enough of us participate, we will see the change that we need. April 7th through the 14th, we're boycotting Walmart. I'm happy to say I don't go to Walmart because I think they're a raggedy company. They don't pay their employees well, so a lot of them are already taking government assistance because they're not paying them well enough to even to
Make it.
have a living wage. April 20 April 18th is economic boycott number 2. We're staying home that day too. And April 21st through the 28th, the General Mills boycott. This is our plan. This is why we share with everyone that we know. Put it on your social media, put it on your Facebook, put it on your Twitter if you still use Twitter, put it on your Blue Sky if you don't use Twitter and you decide to go to Blue Sky, put it on your Instagram, put it wherever you need to, because if you are dissatisfied, what you can withhold is your money. And this is our first official act from 12 a.m. to 11:59 p.m. on Friday, February 28th. Don't buy. Just don't buy. Sisters?
This is a very exclusive sort of strategy that is to propel people into recognize what is being lost by DEI being eliminated. One of the things that I recognize right away is the diversity training in many corporations that help people learn about the ethnic, cultural differences and likes that the people they work with, so that there is not fear about the people that you may not know, that may not live in your neighborhood, that may not be your direct neighbors, but you work with these people. And sometimes there are acts of discrimination or offensive language. And you don't know if you're offending someone if you don't know anything about them and you can't have a meeting and talk about these things. That was one of the things that I learned when I was working at North Park University. We regularly had a diversity training at the university for people who were in leadership positions. They were professors, they were instructors, they were people that had a great influence on the students on campus. And the reason for the diversity training was to help them be able to relate to the people they worked with as people and not have these outlandish ideas about people, feeding into stereotypes, feeding into wrong thinking about people, just being out and out prejudice. And people had to be trained to understand why it was important to have diversity training. Now, my understanding is that DEI eliminates this kind of thing, and it's really needed.
Well, this is the other thing that people call it DEI, but it's actually DEIA, which is diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility. When people don't understand, is that a lot of the elimination also impacts the disabled community, veterans, children who have learning uh,
Disabilities.
divergent. They have different needs. They have uh maybe they have the IEPs, individual education programs, or other uh things that they need, and those will eliminate all of those. When people The problem with DEI being used the way it has in this political climate, people are actually using it another way of saying anti-black. And that's what they don't want to say. So they say, oh, no DEI training, which means you also don't get help for your disabled child. You also don't get help for your disabled veteran. You don't get help for people who may not be black, but they are benefiting from DEI training. And that's what people are finding out now. All of a sudden, they're realizing, oh, wait a minute, it just ain't about y'all, it's about us too. Yes, yes, it is. And it always was going to be. But your own lack of DEI training showed how much you actually need it. And so now we need to spend our money or don't spend our money on the things that are going to affect those corporations, because what a corporation is they're talking about their bottom line. And as we can be reminded by the Montgomery boycott many years ago, that bankrupted a company because they let it last for a year. Now, most of us can't go a whole year without spending money. We still need food and gas and light and everything else. But that one day of non-essentials makes a difference. Do you really need that bird seed from Amazon? No. You can go to Petco or PetSmart and walk in like I did this past week and buy it. Do you really need those $2 sneakers from Walmart? No, you don't. For one thing, they're going to fall apart in a week and a half anyway. So don't, whatever it is. Do you need McDonald's? Whether or not you have McDonald's money. McDonald's also rolled back their DEI. Those are in our neighborhoods, people. Stay home and cook that day. Have yourself some vegetables, some steamed vegetables, and some important nutritious food that day. It will make a big difference to McDonald's corporation and to their bottom line. And that's when they start listening to us. Don't shop where you will not be hired, they said 50 years ago.
I look at this.
Go ahead.
I look at this action and see it as the beginning of people taking back their power. The power was always in the masses of the people, but when you don't realize it, then you become dependent on other structures controlled by other people.
Yes.
The fact of the matter is, money is whatever the collective body defines it and agrees to it to be. So you can use anything as a means of exchange. So this first step is for us to really see that none of these systems, not banking, not commerce, nothing moves unless the masses of people agree to participate in the process. If we disagree and we do not buy, everything stops. So once we see that and remember that, then we can take that next step and take control of everything else that we've unknowingly let be taken over by a few people using the symbol that they have chosen as money and hoarded as money. But there's nothing stopping us ultimately from deciding to use some other means of exchange, because if people have things, they can always still work together, still make sure each other has food, make sure each other has clothing, make sure each other has essentials. We can still do that even if we never spend another penny with anybody. We have the ability to create that kind of system of interchange. But first we have to realize and recognize the power that we always had. So this is a good step in people being able to see the power of collective action, just like with the Montgomery boycott. It took them a while to really convince people that they had the power to do this. And then once they could see the impact of not riding that bus, that's when they started organizing carpools and every other kind of thing to get people back and forth to work, so that even though they weren't using the buses, they still were able to function. And that's what's going to come out of this action right here. We're going to develop other means of exchange and commerce that don't have anything to do with the banking and credit card system. And that's when people take back their power and create the kind of economy where everybody participates like we want it to happen. So this was necessary. We had to go through this so we could see how we had given away our power to people who were multimillionaires and neglecting people. Now we can take that power back and then restructure the whole economy and do something totally different. We're not going to go back to what was. We're going to create something different, something new, that's something that we control, and we're never going to take that power and give it away again.
And another important thing is to support local family businesses.
Yes.
I have a friend of Lavinia's. Every time she comes to visit, she always, when we are going out, she always wants to go to a restaurant that is not part of a chain, that is a family owned, and they're easy to find and all over the city. Actually, there are a lot of places that benefit from our support. Keep that money flowing in your neighborhood. Support your family owned businesses. Those kind of things are very helpful.
Absolutely. And that's going to also cause people to think about starting businesses, because wherever there's a need, there's an opportunity. So
yeah,
people are going to think more about, how can I create something that I can support my family? I can employ my children. I can use my creative energy and nobody can fire me. And that's the kind of economy that we had years and years and years ago, before the big corporate structures began to take over everything and control everything and put the mom and pop stores out of business.
And you know, some of these corporations, they do that. Walmart, they have walked in, they have come into small towns, they have built these superstar stores where they can, you know, sell, yeah, they can undercut, and then they force out the mom and pop stores that have been there for decades. And when they get tired and they've decided, oh, okay, we can't make any more money, they close it down and they move.
Everybody's out of work.
They need food deserts and food swamps and places where people can't get their goods, and they move on, and there's no accountability. You know, and so we need to start saying, well, wait a minute, we don't need to do that. You know, I tend to buy a lot of books on my Kindle because it's hard to find those same books or even small bookstores, but you can't get them at the library. You can, you know, download from the library. You don't necessarily have to buy from Amazon, even though they tend to be cheaper, because they're doing a lot of undercutting of local businesses. And so it's hard, and it's hard because they have done so well that way, that when you go into a brick and mortar store, a lot of times you can't find the things that you want because they don't stock them anymore, because nobody buys them anymore. So you go on Amazon and you just can get it and it'll be there the next day. So it's this self-perpetuating thing. But I also want to talk about the Black community, because I saw something recently, and I don't know what the numbers are, but I know that in some communities, they keep the dollars in their communities a lot longer than we do. I think it was like 28 days for the Asian communities, and some of the other communities, it was a few days. And for Black communities, we keep our money in our communities for 6 hours. And that's the thing. We do not support ourselves. And I live in a very diverse community. There's a lot of Hispanic and Latino businesses here. And so when you eat, like you, Barbara, when we go out to dinner, we are not going to the chains, because that's not where the good food is. We have the best food in the city, frankly. If you ever come to Boston, come to East Boston, we got the best food in the city. But because we have a lot of family-owned businesses. Some have been here for decades. They're on their second or third generation. Some of them are brand new, and they're every kind of food you can think of. So look for those small businesses. Look for those small grocery stores. You know, we have a lot of the corner grocery stores. You know, a lot of them, you know, they may be higher than the supermarket, but as long as you're getting fresh food, do you really need to go into the local, you know, supermarket that probably still has a markup? You know, there's so much we can do to support ourselves. But the one thing that we can do is to say, we are not going to lie down and do nothing.
Absolutely.
That's the thing, is we don't have to lie down and do absolutely nothing. We can lie down and do absolutely nothing on February 28th as far as spending.
Do nothing on that day.
And realize it is going to cost something. It's going to cost your convenience. And that is something we need to be willing to get up give up. I remember I just recently watched The Forge with my husband, another great Kendrick Brothers movie. But one of the things that was brought out in this narrative that was shown was that the young man, in making a change in his life, he was going to have to give up something. And he was going to have to give up something that wasn't necessarily bad, but it was detrimental to his growth as a young Christian. And it that sort of sentiment carries over in every area of our lives. In order to make improvements, in order to make things better, you may have to give up some of your own comforts. I know that the people who, like in the Montgomery bus boycott that lasted over a year, 381 days, those people, many of them, even if they weren't carpooling, they were walking to work or they were taking days off, but they were working together as an organized group of people to exhibit and force there to be change. A lot of things that come through the Supreme Court, they don't, people don't do things out of the goodness of their hearts.
No.
They are forced to do things because it's the right thing to do, but also sometimes they have to be made to see that this is the right thing to do. And so it is important to be willing maybe to give up something that you like in order to make things better for other people who are being oppressed.
And then also learn how to supply the thing that you're giving up. And I've been talking a long time about how people have houses with backyards. You're growing grass. Well, that's nice, that's pretty, but you don't have a cow. So who's eating that? I mean, you have land that you can grow your own food. And once you get used to eating what the earth gives you for absolutely free, if you just nourish it a little bit with seeds and water and everything, sunlight, then you realize, wait a minute, I've been letting these supermarkets decide whether or not I eat. And I got land, I could grow it myself. So, and it's not poison with not GMO or any of those things.
Pesticides.
So pesticides that's killing you slowly. So this is an opportunity for us to take back our power. We always had it, but like you say, Barbara, convenience. Okay, yeah, it's convenient. Just go to the store and pick up a bag of potatoes rather than me getting the dirt and dig it up and then let it grow and then dig the potatoes up. Yeah, that's fine. But how intelligent is it for you to have your power to eat in your own hands so that you don't have to be in fear of somebody if they decide to price things way out of your range or close up shop and move away so you don't even have a store? This is why we have to go through this so we can see our power and take it back and create a way of exchanging and interacting and unifying so that we're always maintaining a strong community, a strong self-supporting community.
It can be liberating.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
Be willing, and it's hard. I'm going to tell you, and Amazon everybody has a love-hate relationship with Amazon.
Yeah.
When you need something quick, and they've gotten quicker, sometimes you can order something, it'll be there the same day. They
Or
all
yesterday.
yeah, yeah, but they also have a terrible business model because they burn out their employees and they will just replace them all. So they have like 100% turnover because they burn people out. So they're a terrible business model as far as corporations go. They don't care about their workers. They fought unionization, because they don't care. If you don't like it, leave. We'll give somebody else a bonus and then go back to exploiting them. And
so isn't this an opportunity for somebody to create a delivery service where the employees are treated well?
Well, yes.
Oh my goodness, there actually is one, and I don't remember her name. It's actually called the Black Amazon. I'll get that to you next time.
Yeah.
But we also, and this is going to be an ongoing conversation for us, as we have to understand, and for somebody who can oh, you say you need such and such, and I can get on my phone and I can get it to you there in just a few hours. It's a sacrifice for me to, all of a sudden I'm out of bird food and I have to drive a few miles and I have to go to a pet store and I have to look and see if they have the right food. and I'm going to pay a little bit more. But, sometimes that inconvenience is your sacrifice.
Yeah, I know we got to leave soon, but I'm reminded of that scene in um, the movie Gandhi, where they marched a whole group of people to the seaside to get salt. And the whole idea was, we don't have to buy salt. We can get it where it's absolutely free. Yeah, it's not as convenient. We got to go a long way, but it represents freedom, because we're not allowing anybody to oppress us and force us to pay for something that's right here on our land. We can get it ourselves. So it's the same thing with all of these things. Yeah, it's easy to, take the phone and make that call and it's delivered. But what is the long-term benefit of taking back the power to get something that you can control yourself, and you can actually empower yourself and others, so that you never have to fear someone shutting you down and making you not have access to things that you need to survive?
Also, I want you to go through this list. This is a list of some of uh the companies and businesses who have decided to roll back their DEI. So
Don't buy from list.
don't buy from where you won't be
Appreciated.
Appreciated. Yes.
employed. If they won't hire you. I mean, we had signs in the 1950s and 60s that says, "Don't buy where you're not hired." There are places that we have shut down by not buying.
Absolutely. I know some stores that don't exist today.
Just the way you talk about money. Well, money talks.
Yes, it
But
does.
lack of money means a lot to those who are dependent on you taking the bad services and saying, "Oh yeah, but I need." Well, you know what? You don't.
Yeah.
You don't need to shop where you are not being treated well. Just like the places where when they would follow you around the stores, or make you leave or check your bag.
Leave your purse or your bag at the desk. Like, I should trust you with my bag.
Yeah, and I used to think about that when Sarah was young and we would go to Rainbow and they want to check our bag. I said, you know what, you selling like cheap shirts for $6. Let me tell you something. If I'm going to shoplift, which I never have one day in my life, I'm not going to shoplift cheap stuff. Let me go to Nordstrom's or Macy's even, or finally let me go to where there's some higher.
I'm not gonna say no cheap stuff.
Feeling.
Well, I know we gotta go, but one thing I do want to say before we go is that as we put this strategy in motion, we have to collectively be prepared for the fallout of jobs that may be lost and all of that. But that means being prepared to hire people at the businesses that we create. We have to have the plan B ready in mind, because that is the next step. Don't expect the people who are doing you wrong to suddenly do you right and then make everything all better. No, take the power back. Don't take the power. Don't give it back. Create something that you control and never give that power away again. We really can do this, and we can create a whole new economy.
This is just the start.
Tell everyone you know. Put it all on your social media. Economic boycott, February 28th.
That's right. Well, this is the beginning. Thank you so much for listening. We appreciate you. And as always, we want you to like and subscribe us on YouTube, the Three Black Moms, and like us on Facebook, Three Black Moms, and feel free to add your comments and let us know, are you going to participate in the DEI boycott and beyond? Until next time, I'm Naima.
I'm Cheryl.
I'm Barbara. We are Three Black Moms.
And we will see you next week, same time. And by then, we will have seen the power of our boycott. Join us.
I'm Barbara.
I'm Cheryl.
And I'm Naima. We're three Black moms.